So keep on going with your silly dream by Piter on AO3. This fic may include suicidal thoughts. That is your warning. Read by Lily6645. Chapter 23. Answer your phone, I'm begging. Emotional. Izuku faints? The green-haired teen frowns at his phone, gently patting stroke. He had woken up at 4 today, dreams plagued by terrified red eyes. It's been that way ever since he first spotted the small girl from across the street. Either way, he'd gone in his run, hit the gym, and showered. Uraraka had messaged him around 9 to tell him about some natural disaster training her class was doing. It was 11:47 now, and she'd gone totally radio silent. He shoved his shoes back on and took a walk to clear his head. Stroke yowled in protest, but ultimately went back to sleep. He sent Uraraka another text, the third in a row. She was probably just busy. They were doing some special training after all. He licked his lips and asked for an update when she got the chance. Izuku bumped into someone in the middle of the sidewalk. Pausing in confusion, he looked up from his phone to see a crowd had gathered around the news displayed in windows. Holy shit, a villain attack? Right after the press got in too. First years? How the hell did villains break into UA? The green-haired teen felt his breath catch in his throat before shoving through the crowd. He doesn't bother with excuses or apologies. We have been unable to get a statement from UA at this current time. However, our sources state that pro-hero Eraserhead, the teacher of Class 1A, has severely injured in this attack. We are again not at this time able to know if any students were severely injured. More will be reported as Izuku gasped, attempting to draw in a breath, but was unsuccessful. He attempted to call Uraraka after 10 more texts remained unanswered. He called her 3 more times before switching to Shinso. Normally, he wouldn't bombard the boy. With Uraraka, she was just as talkative as him, so he didn't have to worry about chasing her off. Shinso, however, was a different case entirely. Their friendship felt tentative, fragile even. He sent the boy at least 20 texts and called way more than that was deemed socially acceptable. Before he could call again, his phone powered off. He hadn't charged it last night. Shit. So he did the even less socially acceptable thing and rushed to their apartment. It was unlikely that they would be back yet, but in his panic-fueled state, it seemed like the perfect idea. And yet, after scrambling through the crowd and getting hit by a truck, no one answered the door. He knocked a few more times, half collapsed to the floor before his knees fully buckled. He couldn't breathe. God, he hated it when this happens. He wiped away tears, still desperately attempting to reclaim his lungs from the force that had taken them hostage. His fingers had gone numb, and he was freezing, desperate, the warm temperature around him. Everything that wasn't numb was aching from being ran over, plus the injuries from the nighttime walks. He wasn't strong enough. His vision went black. There was a hand on his shoulder. Danger, danger, danger. He punched blindly before opening his eyes. His heart was racing. Ow! Oh my god! President Mike dropped to his knees beside Izuku, groaning. Holy shit. He punched him in the balls! Mr. Yamada! I'm so sorry! I thought you were someone trying to kill me! Izuku yelped. He glanced up, and green eyes met purple ones. Oh god, the villain attack. Izuku scrambled to his feet, hissing in pain, before he flung himself on Shinso. Holy shit! I thought you didn't answer your phone, and neither did Uraraka or Eraserhead. It's hurt, and oh my god, Uraraka, have you... fuck! You're okay! Deku. Shinso interrupted, awkwardly patting his back. Breathe. President Mike picked himself up from behind them and began looking through the many keys on his chain for the one that unlocked their apartment. We're okay, little listener. All the students were pretty much unharmed. Izuku paused and took a long, slightly choked breath. Sorry, I was just really worried. I kind of panicked when I saw the news. I ran here without thinking. It's fine. Jesus, what did you do to your chin? Shinso squinted. And your arm. You're bleeding. Izuku blinked in confusion. I don't know. I think I got ran over on the way here. But are you okay? What went on in the attack? Shinso stared at him in a mild disbelief. We can talk while we patch you up. Oh, no worries, We can talk while we patch you up. Not getting out of this one, kiddo. Yamada added, opening their apartment door. Okay, can I borrow a charger too? Sure. Izuku's scrapes had been cleaned and bandaged, while Shinso divulged the details. There were a lot of thugs, but only a few big villains, with an electric quirk blocking any communication. They called themselves the League of Villains. The guy with the disintegration quirk was a man-baby. Students were dispersed through the USJ due to the man with a warp quirk. The villain called Nomu was almost as powerful as All Might himself. But the number one hero had thankfully pulled through. A guy in class, Ida, had an engine quirk that allowed him to bring backup. Nomu was the only large threat captured. Aizawa may have permanent damage from where the Nomu hit his face into the ground. An awkward silence blanketed them, Shinso moping on the couch while Izuku waited for his charging phone to power back on. Yamada had only picked up some clothes and toiletries for when Aizawa woke, before going back to the hospital and promising to be home by the night. Shinso was not allowed to come with. The purple-haired teen didn't appreciate that. The only noise was stroke. Izuku had picked him up and brought him over earlier, and Tormentor duking it out, while Kevin watched them. Izuku couldn't take it. Hey, Shinso? Izuku finally spoke. Weird question. Are Mr. Yamada and Mr. Aizawa, together? I'll let you know when I find out, Shota snorted. There was hardly any humor in his tone. Izuku blinked before accepting the answer, and swiping his phone open, he immediately called Uraraka. Deku, hey, I'm so sorry. I didn't see any of your messages or calls because the villain attack. I know. Are you okay? I kind of freaked out. Just a few scrapes and bruises. None of the students really got hurt, thanks to Sensei. I really hope he's okay. Eraserhead doesn't seem like the type to let this stop him. I'm sure he'll be fine, Izuku reassured softly. It's late though, almost 10. I just needed to make sure you were actually okay. We can talk more later. Maybe hang out? You were in a villain attack. Please go to bed soon. I will, Uraraka laughed, causing the teen's shoulders to further slump in relief. You sound like my dad, and yeah, we should definitely meet up soon. Cool. Bye, Uraraka. Bye, Deku. See you soon. Izuku frowned. She sounded tired, although she tried to hide it through cheer. It made sense considering the near-death experience, but he was worried. Hopefully she'd come to him if she needed him. You should get to bed too, Shinso. I'm waiting for my dad. Do you really think they'll discharge him so soon? I mean, they'll at least keep him for a couple of days, right? He'll be home by Monday, whether they discharge him or not. I can tell you that much. Wow, that's a pro! Your fanboy is showing. Izuku flushed red. It's not? Sure. That is the end of chapter 32 of So Keep On Going With Your Silly Dream by Pider on AO3. On to the next chapter. Chapter 33, Eraserhead Interlude 3. Pain. He was swaying, but nothing was moving. Was he being carried? Did he get hurt? Was his kids safe? He hoped they were. After all, despite what everyone forgets, Aizawa knew they really were just kids. Heroes in training, sure, but most hadn't even turned 16, for God's sake. He wanted to open his eyes. He needed to see his kids. Were they okay? Was Asui still in one piece? Or disintegrated like his elbow? He tried to move and almost screamed at the pain it caused. Scratch that. He would scream if his body was functioning in any way. His eyes wouldn't open. Please let his kids be okay. Yo, Aizawa! The blonde greets, only slightly taller than Aizawa. The black-haired teen gave Hazashi a long, hard look before putting his head back into his desk. Come on, you know you love me. Wake up! Hazashi pouts, shaking him. The class is looking at us. Control your quirk, Aizawa muttered, glaring at Hisashi through a gap in the strands of his hair. He pretended his heart didn't thunder at the other teen's words. Was he seriously that oblivious? Whatever, it was just a crush. It'd pass soon. Aizawa! Oboro isn't here yet. I have to talk to someone. Please! No. Wake up! Show! Please! Please, stay with us! We're almost there, okay? You hear me, Sho? Shota is vaguely aware of the noise and machinery surrounding him. He decided he didn't mind. If Hisashi was there, it couldn't be that bad, right? But he wanted to sleep. Hisashi could wait 5 more minutes for Aizawa to wake up. Oh, fuck, please! Sir, please back away and stay calm. 3, 2, 1, clear! Yamada, listen. Back to Yamada? Ouch! Hisashi put a hand against his chest, turning around, and it was the first time Aizawa had seen him in years. Aizawa stared in mild horror. What did you do? Come to check on my best friend who's been ignoring and dodging all my calls. Yamada snaps, glaring. Yikes. He hadn't even really been subjected to a glare from Yamada before. He's very much like to not repeat this incident. I was referring to... Aizawa gestured at the horrible mustache Yamada was growing. That. Stop! I can't! Yamada removed his glasses, wiping his eyes. Jesus! Just please stop avoiding the subject. There's nothing to discuss. Like hell there's not. I'm a grown man, Yamada. Ever think I was ready to get rid of you and Kayama after UA? He regretted it as soon as it left his mouth. He regretted it even more as hurt made itself known on Yamada's face. The fact that was still breaking, even with the horrendous facial hair. You don't mean that, Yamada stated flatly, crossing his arms. Says who? Says me, damn it! I know it's been hard after Oboro. Of course I do. But tell me why I've lost 2 friends, huh? Why have I lost 2 if you're alive and I had to break into your apartment to talk to you? Yamada took the front of Aizawa's shirt into his hands, staring straight into Aizawa's eyes, past them straight into his thoughts. Aizawa never had been able to listen to him. Please, Sho, let us in. Let me in. I miss you so fucking much. Shota let him in. Not that he had a choice. He'd never slept better than he did. Warmth from both the blankets and the blonde he was curled into. Aizawa was cold, numb, and everything felt heavy. If he focused, he could hear a beeping. It sounded familiar. Too familiar. Where was he? The beeping sped up. the League of Villains. Nomu. His kids. Aizawa attempted to get up, ignoring the pain and wires and shouting voices. Why couldn't he see? Sho, lay back down. You're going to hurt yourself. You're safe. He knew that voice. Hisashi. A pause was all the other strangers surrounding him needed to inject Shota with something. He couldn't think properly. Shota! The man in question lifted an eyebrow, waiting for Hisashi to continue. I was thinking, you'll need a bigger apartment if you want to foster that kid you nabbed. I didn't nab him. Shota rolled his eyes. I just found him and he's been following me with the fanboy eyes. Was I supposed to just not give him food? He looked half-starved. Yeah, no offense. I know, Sho, but anyways. The blonde pointed finger guns at Shota, who was rooting in the staff room. Let's be roommates. I can help pay, plus watch him if you get hurt or have to go on. Shota was losing his goddamn mind. Well, I'd appreciate it if you'd wake up soon. You know, it's been 2 days now. You never stay down that long. You're sending your kids back to school after tomorrow, so they'll have to get a sub if you don't wake up. Hisashi? He was still here? Where was Shota? The hospital? Right. Hisashi had said all his the class was okay. Shota tried to say something, but his mouth was far too dry. Now that he was more lucid than he had been, he could feel rough gauze covering his, everything. You have so many cards and gifts from all your kids. Yes, your kids, you big softy. Aizawa wished he could glare. Shinso is really worried. I don't know if he's slept. Oh, Deku's been staying in our apartment with stroke. I thought the kid was an anxious wreck before all this, but right now... Aizawa sighed, cutting himself off. Shoto heard a sniffle from Hisashi. The man that had dragged him kicking and screaming out of his depression on at least 6 separate occasions. Zosh. The word scraped against his parched throat, causing him to wince. Holy! Hisashi paused in a way that Shota had become familiar with, a way that meant he was getting a handle on his quirk. Sho, thank God! Don't cry. I'm fine. I'm getting a nurse and some ice. If the nurse is, I'm just going to go get the nurse. The injured man, if he could, would smile. What a dork. He had no right to call Deku an anxious mess. He felt his heart clench at the thought of his best friend and roommate. He just wished both Shota and Hisashi were cackling on the couch at, something funny. It was 2 a.m. and they were both drunk as hell. It was a celebration. Shota was going to be fostering Shinso. Nomuri and Tensei had long since gone to their separate homes, leaving the 2 best friends alone. The couch was large, yet they sat with thighs and hands pressed together. The blonde in Shota's opinion looked like he was glowing, the light from the TV hitting him just right. His hair was a total mess, falling out of his precarious bun, with his glasses nowhere to be found. Hazashi himself was laughing, mouth gaping, with no intention of quieting the noise. Despite that, it still held the unique grace, chaos, and beauty only Hazashi seemed to be able to balance. He was ethereal. He was everything Shota had wanted since first year. Hazashi glanced over once his laughter had quieted slightly, making eye contact with the underground hero. He swallowed, licking his lips. The blonde glanced down and Shota's lips, then back at his eyes. They were both leaning close until their noses were just shy of touching. Shota closed the gap and Hazashi leaned into the kiss with a hum. It wasn't electric or spark or any of the ways sappy romantics described it. It was just two people touching lips, just a kiss. And yet it was all Shota hoped for, dreamed of. They pulled apart before Shota snickered, his hands behind Hazashi's head, bringing him closer. Hazashi tasted like alcohol and hope and desperation and all the things Shota could never have. It was intoxicating. They broke apart again, panting. "Didn't know you could kiss, Sho." "Only you," Shota responded, small smile on his lips. Tired. Bed?" The black-haired man let out a drunken laugh. Night, Zashi." "Night, Sho. Love you." "Love you too." They share another kiss, this one right outside their rooms. Not as chaste as the ones before it. If Shota and Hazashi ended up cuddling, who had to know but them? "Toshi's still at home. I didn't want him to freak out. So he's only been here once. Deku came too," Hazashi whispered as he gave Shota another ice chip. You were in a really bad shape." "I'm fine now." "You died 3 times. 1 in the ambulance, twice on the table. You were too exhausted for them to just heal you. I didn't tell the kids, but please don't just say you're fine." Shota stayed quiet, staring into the blackness beneath the gauze still wrapped around his eyes. "I can't lose you. Not like Oboro. I couldn't even take it when you left me alone that 1 year." Shota felt guilt curl in his gut at the fresh wave of sniffles from his roommate. "I love you. I can't lose you." Shota might be sick. He loved Hazashi too, just not how his friend thought. Yeah, love you too. Now, when can we go home?" You just woke up." Shota woke up blearily to the smell of bacon, blinking in confusion. He wasn't in his... Wait, no. Him and Hisashi kissed, didn't they? Shota groaned, pinching the bridge of his nose as if it'd get rid of his headache. Of course, it didn't work. The painkillers were on the kitchen counter and placed Hisashi currently was. But it wasn't rational to just lay on the man's bed either. It was time to get it over with and face the music. Show! Hey, I'm making some breakfast, and Advil is where it always is. Shota nodded, taking 3 pills and waiting until Hisashi served them both fried eggs, toast, some bacon, and a glass of milk. He couldn't bring himself to do anything more than eat his food. So, Sho? Last night, Hisashi laughed nervously. So, about all that, you were up way too late and way too drunk, and I guess we're touchy, huh? I didn't even know what I was doing, and didn't think you did either. But, I don't mean anything I said. Yeah, me neither. If Shota cried in his room for a few hours after that, it was no one's business but his own. Dad! Hisashi barreled forward, stopping just short. He blinked before carefully hugging Shota. His son didn't look like he'd slept at all. The underground hero internally winced. He was a bad influence. He had been healed to where he could walk and remove the gauze from around his eyes, and thankfully he wasn't blind. Toshi was trembling, and damn his broken arms. Hey kid, I knew you'd be home before Monday, the teen snorted, finally releasing him. Shota looked up, and in the corner was Deku. He was wiping his eyes, sniffling, yet not making any move to come closer. Deku, come here. Suddenly, there was another kid hugging Shota. Ugh, he was going soft. Hisashi was right. Mr. Aizawa? Call me Shota. It was 3 a.m, while Shota himself had just got back from patrol. His new kid, foster, struggled with insomnia. This wasn't the first time he'd talked and at ass crack o'clock. It probably wouldn't be the last. Thank you, Shota. For what? Aizawa looked away from his jelly pack. I don't know. Telling me my dream isn't stupid? Teaching me? For fostering me? For fuck's sake, what do I not have to thank you for? No problem, kid. You deserve it. Hell, you deserve more. Shota laid on the couch, eyes shut, but he'd been awake since he got home. His feet were lying in a snoring Hisashi's lap. In front of the couch was his son, head tilted back, thick purple hair against Shota's stomach. 2 purring cats rested on top of him, and he was aware of a door hinge squeaking. He cracked an eye open to see Deku about to leave. The thought made Shota uneasy. Deku was one of the 2 problem children he couldn't always keep his eyes on. The other being, of course, Yahoo. Kid, Shota whispered, causing the kid in question to jump. Hey, Mr. Aizawa. It's late. Just stay the night. It's no problem, he said softly, causing every other time the kid had been here. How many times had they had this conversation over and over again? 5:30? Izuku gasped. Oh no, I've been on your couch all day. Please forgive me. Sir, you really don't have to. I'm already using your couch and I got your tub dirty and... Izuku grinned. I can get out of your hair then. I've already overstayed my welcome again. This kid needed to do some serious work on his self-esteem. Really, Deku, you aren't a problem. Go lay down. The kid stared, face far too sharp and eyes far too tired for someone his age. Deku looked unhealthily in general. He was all lean muscle, clearly not eating enough. He could see all the bruises and scars that marred his arms due to the short-sleeved shirt. There are tears trailing down his face. I should go. You don't have to, the underground hero reminded him. You're welcome here. Shota shut his eyes. Teens like Deku were tricky, like dealing with stray cats. Don't push hard enough and you can't help. Push too hard and the cat will either attack or run. Sometimes it was best to just give them space. The door shut. Shota hid a grin when light footsteps padded over to the couch. Before there's another body next to Shinso's. Not that he cared. Shota wasn't going soft. Not really. The kid rested his head against the cushion, his short hair brushing against Shota's ear. He couldn't stop the smile that time. Not soft at all. That is the end of chapter 33 of So Keep On Going With Your Silly Dream by Piter on AO3. Thank you so much for listening.